poorly, just in terms of putting together a really formidable basketball team. You need a stinger?
Yeah.
Stinger time already?
Yes.
Yeah, Jay's working on it.
When it breaks,
We have it first.
it's Sactown Sports breaking news.
Shams Charania just tweeted out, the Los Angeles Clippers are waiving Drew Eubanks. Eubanks plans to sign with the Sacramento Kings on a 1-year deal after he clears waivers. That's according to Shams Charania. Additional front court depth for the Kings. So you lose JV, but you sign Drew Eubanks reportedly to a 1-year deal. Drew Eubanks.
I can hear it in your voice, Drapes, and I'm right there with you. Unexpected to say.
Yeah, 28-year-old. Basketball Reference has him as 6'9", a solid player. I don't think he's the difference between championship or not, but we were just talking about front court depth. Apparently, Drew Eubanks. But here's the thing, Whitey. They signed him on a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Flexibility for next offseason. That's what I'm seeing here with Sacramento.
He's been primarily a center. He can play a little 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you address your front court depth. I mean, at first blush, it looks like he replaces Valanciunas. But I don't know. So, Drew Eubanks, and again, just to be clear, he's been waived and he is expected to sign with the Kings?
Shams, they are waiving center Drew Eubanks, and Eubanks plans to sign with the Kings on a 1-year deal.
Not sure what to make of that.
No, I tell you what.
It's 14.5 1 year with Portland.
Right. It's Scott Perry is remaking the roster, though, on the fly. Like, we got some new bodies coming in, some fresh blood, if you will.
What is he listed at? 6 what?
6'9".
According to Basketball Reference.
And a center? Hell no.
Nah, what do you mean? Hell no. He's been playing center his whole career, Jay.
And that's the problem.
ESPN got him at 6'10". ESPN has him at 6'10". Let's go to NBA.com.
You feel better about 6'10", Jay? Over 6'9"?
I guess.
Yeah, 6'10" on NBA.com. I don't know what Basketball Reference, maybe without shoes or something like that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just kind of mildly confusing, if we're being honest.
Just padding the stats right, fellas. Padding your buffer. He probably
filling out your roster.
Still, till Raynard is there, he's probably your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's the Alex Lynn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fans are just,
you're not happy about it. Like,
it's all right. It's just, again, it's like, okay. It just always, it feels like, all right, but what else? Doesn't it? I mean, if we're being honest, that's fine. Drew Eubanks.
There's going to be more.
Nice
right.
Yeah.
You say this is the problem. Why every move we make that the Kings make, it's like, oh, what are they doing? I need to see the vision. Yeah. What if Drew Eubanks is the third center and you go out there and get somebody else, Ayton, or I don't know. I'm just throwing names out there. It doesn't have to be.
It's not bad.
Right, your best move comes first, then your second best move, your third. Scott's still on the phone right now, probably talking to potential free agents.
Right.
And Eubanks, it ain't like you're giving them the mid-level or anything like that. You still got some money. You still got a trade exception you can use. And so calm the heck down, people. People are they want to be angry just for no reason out here right now.
No, they're just frustrated. That's what I was getting at when you broke in with the stinger, and I'm glad you did. It's hard for fans to trust that the organization knows how to put together a winning product, and the organization's just going to have to work through that. Scott Perry wasn't here for all those years, but that's why fans, they are prone to react badly to moves that are, less than overwhelming because they've been conditioned to do that. So it's just part of it right now. That's where you are if you're a Kings fan. We lost Valanciunas. We got Drew Eubanks. You're right. Well, wait and see what happens. But as a fan, it's hard not to go, what? That's just the nature of being a fan in this town right now.
Yeah, it's overboard right now. It's overboard. I mean, we're talking about, what you got?
Loyalty is royalty. Drew Eubanks is a dog. He's ready to throw down. That's his best attribute because Sacramento's soft like the back of your mama's arms. Who did he get into it with? He got into just recently. He really got into it with somebody.
Was it Beef Stew?
Maybe it was. I mean, like really.
Yeah. Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, I do remember. But the thing about it, Whitey, is we're talking about, no offense, Valanciunas. We're talking about Drew Eubanks.
Right.
We're talking about 8th men, 9th men, to people getting up in arms over guys that see the floor 15 minutes a night.
But fans are also still talking about LaRavia. And they're still talking about
But the LaRavia thing, we expect. Let's keep it real. We kind of expected that, right? Jake LaRavia to go elsewhere. We knew it would be hard.
Sure.
It would be difficult.
Yes, but it is difficult when, as we all said yesterday, especially given where he went to. So fans are still dealing with that.
Well, fans need to call us up then. Like, this is a therapy session. Like, I don't want to sit here and just rip fans and everything. You tell me how you feel. Like, all I'm seeing is the social media stuff, going back and forth. I will say this, too. I don't think what we see on social media is a true representation of the Kings fan base. Because how much of the population actually is on Twitter? Like,
I don't know.
I know hundreds of Kings fans that aren't, what's Scott Perry doing? I don't believe we signed Drew Eubanks. What are we doing? Like, some Kings fans are like, okay, all right, we trust in Scott. We'll see what happens. We'll be there come October. Like, don't let the vocal minority make us think all Kings fans are up in arms and upset.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Mark's with us on Sactown Sports. Thanks for hanging, Mark. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, just, you want to know what the can, or at least one fan thinks. I mean, I guess I'm open to the possibility of new, different moves coming up. I'm just, at this point, I'm a little confused because I was like, I look at the draft and I'm thinking, two-way length defensive guys, young, and I'm like, all right, we got a couple of dudes, and then he does this, and it's like, you got a couple of young guards that maybe they're not like point guards, but like, what happens to their development? Now you got another guard that's going to handle the ball. Maybe if Monk is flipped for something, it kind of makes sense, I guess. But then it's like, well, why would you trade Monk for an older version of Monk that handles, he's a little bit better passer? I mean, it seems like they're kind of living two lives. They're building up this young asset chest drawer, but then they keep on kind of just playing the vets and kind of building that as well. And maybe in a couple of years that'll fold up, and then you turn to your young assets. So it's like, those guys aren't going to be young in a couple of years. If it had been like a 1-year deal, that would have been kind of nice. A guy that like you can go to.
Gotcha, Mark. Yeah, we gotta run, but thank you. I understand your point. I think what's going on is the Kings are kind of trying to, and you touched on it, kind of try to serve two masters at once, trying to develop some young players while they stay competitive, and that's tricky. I will say this, and Drapes talked about this yesterday. When we first found out it was going to be Dennis Schroeder, when Drapes mentioned him months ago, I wasn't crazy about it, but something you said, Malik Monk and Dennis Schroeder he's not like an older Malik Monk. He's a much better point guard. Malik Monk is not a point guard. We found that out. Right. Dennis Schroeder is a point guard.
Right. Yes.
With a track record. He's not a great point guard. He's not Chris Paul or John Stockton, but he's a legitimate NBA point guard. Malik Monk is not that. And I'm not tearing down Malik Monk. I know that's all the rage today, but it's just Dennis Schroeder is a legit NBA point guard.
Exactly.
Wouldn't have been my first choice, but it's not just, hey, they could have just kept Malik. No, they really couldn't. They tried that and it didn't work.
Right.
As far as the point guard.
Exactly. Yeah, two different players. Malik is a great sixth man. Dennis Schroeder is going to be your starting point guard. And here's the thing, too, regarding Schroeder. What you did was you traded a backup center to be able to sign a starting point guard. Most of the time around the league, people are like, okay, that makes sense. We got our starting. But like you said, for some reason, Dennis Schroeder, there's like this negative connotation. Oh, you did all that just to be able to sign Dennis Schroeder?
And Mark mentioned another part of it that I know a lot of people feel, which is, the length. It could have been a shorter deal. And fair enough, but it's not that much money. And I still say, as I've said earlier, Drapes, there's ways to move off of this deal if he plays well for you. Now, if he plays badly, obviously you're not going to be able to move him. But Dennis Schroeder is a guy who's, as you said with Jerry Reynolds, he doesn't stay in one place, but there's always a team that wants him. So, I mean, if he plays well here and he's going to have a chance, then, depending on which way you take this, if you get younger, it's a good chance you're going to be able to move him at some point for assets. It's not like, oh my goodness, 3 years. Besides, isn't one of the years like even partially?
The last year is partially guaranteed. Yeah, so it's 2 years.
I wouldn't get hung up on that, but I understand your point.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Dennis Schroeder too, Whitey, that, people will say, oh, he's been on 10 teams now. Well, the fact that teams year in and year out continually show interest in this guy, Golden State at the trade deadline, Detroit, us, like there's a place for this guy in this league. Is he the top 5 point guard, top 10? No, but we are desperate for a starting point guard. Like we go into this season desperate for a starting point guard, and there's a lot worse options out there. And so I think this is a good pickup for Sacramento.
Yeah,
I really do.
He finished a lot with Detroit last year, is my understanding.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Came off the bench, but then he and Cade would finish.
And he played 25 minutes a game coming off the bench for Detroit. And I'm going to do a deeper dive and look at his fourth quarter minutes out there in Detroit. But, yeah, he's a closer too, like a guy you want in there late in games. Because the thing about Dennis Schroeder that I love, his pick and roll game is on point. He can run the pick and roll. And a lot of times you see that late in games. And so he's going to be able to set up DeMar, set up Zach, set up Domas. That was our issue last season. We only had one guy that could set Domas up, and that was Malik Monk. Now you got another guy in Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah. You just touched on what I think is one of the key aspects to this Dennis Schroeder signing that no one's really talking about. I know it gets a little X and O-y there, but this is a clear indication that they ain't running the DHO stuff anymore. In my opinion, with Dennis Schroeder, the offense is going to look a lot different, and I'm on board with that.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Why are you on board with that?
Because the DHO just seemed like so often last year they didn't like it or they didn't run it well, and you'd end up with an offense that was like a football team losing yards.
Yeah.
You'd be going the wrong way, and I just think it was great in the Beam Team year, but the league either caught up to it or the Kings just didn't shoot well enough in the preceding years or in the following years to make it work. It just wasn't working in the half court. They were bad. Their half court offense was pretty bad last year.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And, I do think, when you look at it, the roster did not fit the DHO anymore.
Yeah, I know it's Jay Triano, right? The DHO offense is fine. It just it didn't work.
It didn't work here.
After initially it did work.
Right, exactly. And anytime you sign DeMar out there, you don't have, like the DHO, you need shooting out there. You need some knockdown shooters. We didn't have that. And so it got, it was easy to muck up, if you will. And so you get DeMar, you get Dennis Schroeder, two guys who operate really well with the ball in their hands. You're taking it out of Domas's hands somewhat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Aaron says teams have figured out how to defend the DHO with Sabonis. I think so. I think we saw a lot of that in that playoff series with the Warriors from the first possession, where he got the ball and Draymond was just standing there looking at him like, all right, what are you going to do? And the whole offense started.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so that's a good thing about this change.
Yeah.
An assumption I'm making, but I'm feeling pretty good about that.
I love the fact that you're like warming up. You've warmed up to the idea of my boy Schroeder coming here.
Yeah,
I love it.
I know I keep saying this, but it's true. I've always been a Schroeder guy. I've
Really?
always liked Schroeder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never thought of him as, like Chris Paul or anything, but
Right.
glad he's coming here. It makes me sad to see fans so frustrated and confused right now.
Yeah. I hear you. And well, that's the thing. We got to let it play out. Let's see the full picture, if you will.
Mm-hmm. When we come back, we'll take a look around the league. Anything more on Drew Eubanks, the newest king, and the Bucks are back. But is Giannis happy about that? Next on Sactown Sports.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.